The Lions beat the Chiefs in Kansas City 21-20. You heard Lions coach Dan Campbell at the top of the show, of course. He didn't learn anything. He got verification on what his team, on who his team is. But as we look at this Lions offense here, Jay, we did get to see the NFL debut, of course, of Jahmyr Gibbs, who, listen, top 15 pick at running back. Some people were surprised. And right away, you could see how explosive this guy is.
Yeah, he looked like an absolute monster. And I think from a fantasy perspective, his usage was probably the biggest story to come out of last night. Obviously, the Chiefs wide receivers and their struggles is its story itself. But I think Gibbs, because of his upside, he's the big one. And what I would say, 2 words to kind of caution against any pessimism around Jahmyr Gibbs. Rex Burkhead. So I think back to Dameon Pierce in week 1 last year, where he got just no run, really, relative to Burkhead against the Colts. But that changed pretty quickly. And look, Dave Montgomery's better than Rex Burkhead. I think Dave Montgomery is going to be a thing this year, but I would be shocked if Jahmyr Gibbs continues to get, I mean, he played 29% of snaps last night. I think he's going to play more than that going forward.
Yeah, I think when you look at Gibbs also, too, he was a size outlier coming out of college, so they want to be careful with him out of the gate, the amount of hits he's taking. They want him to be as effective as possible with the touches he gets. But when you see the split there, 21 rushes for David Montgomery, 7 for Jahmyr Gibbs. Of course, only 2 catches for Gibbs. We think he'll be a bigger factor in the passing game as well. But Barry, it just goes to show you, I mean, you've talked about it all summer. The Lions love David Montgomery. They have big plans for him, too. Just because they drafted Gibbs in the top 15, Montgomery's going to be a big factor of this offense as well.
Yeah, there's 2 factors here. Number one is we talk all season long, all preseason about, hey, we prefer David Montgomery at cost to Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, he's going to be a thing. I think I literally said this, like, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be like 3.5 yards per carry, but it's going to be like 20 touches for 30, and that's exactly what it was. He actually averaged 3.5 yards per carry yesterday, 21 touches, and he gets into the end zone, and that's what he's going to be. He's going to be Jamal Williams from last year. The strength of that Lions offense is that offensive line. They want to run. Think about Dan Campbell as a coach, his offensive mentality. They want to run the ball and be physical. Montgomery is somebody that can move the chains for him. He doesn't get hurt. He's awesome in pass protection. It's so important to keep Jared Goff's pocket clean because he's so much better when he's not under pressure, and he's really good at pass protection. So Dave Montgomery's going to be the thing. Last night was not a fluke in terms of his usage. I will say this, however. I would love to make an offer if there's somebody in your league that has Jahmyr Gibbs and is panicked, because I think he is an amazing buy low opportunity. To your point, like, you saw the explosiveness, and yes, it was 21 touches to 9 total touches for Jahmyr Gibbs. Look, they're on the road against the Super Bowl champion. He's a rookie. It's the first game, and think about that game, right? I mean, they had a pick 6. I think if they were trailing in that game, then maybe his usage becomes a little bit different. They end up scoring on a defensive touchdown, so that's a possession that they didn't have. Also, by the way, remember Jahmyr Gibbs got tripped up by the turf monster, like on the, I don't know what it was, the 7-yard line, the 9-yard line, something like that. He had an opportunity to score a touchdown, and he had the angle. He was going to score, but he gets tripped up by the grass there. I think if he scores that touchdown, the narrative of him is different as well. You saw the explosiveness. He's going to get more run. It's a team that doesn't have a ton of weapons offensively after Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're going to find ways to get him more involved. So I'm very bullish on, obviously, Montgomery. I'll take a victory lap there, Jay. You don't have to do it. I see you're already winded. You don't have to do another victory lap for me on David Montgomery. But Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be fine. Like, I'm buying Jahmyr Gibbs, not panicking.
Yep. And to me, sorry, Connor.
That's okay.
I think a huge takeaway from last night is that the Lions ran the ball 34 times versus 35 pass attempts for Jared Goff, 36 dropbacks when you add in the sack. So the fact that they ran the ball so much in the game, like, they weren't leading the whole time there. They weren't icing clock in the second half. Right. They were in passing situations, and they wanted to run the ball. And they weren't having that much success running the ball. They averaged 3.5 yards per carry on the ground. So when you factor that in, I think this is going to be a team, particularly until Jameson Williams comes back, this is going to be a team that wants to run the ball. And I don't think it's going to be 21 carries for Montgomery, 7 for Gibbs going forward. I don't think Montgomery's going to get 75% of the carries going forward. So Gibbs is a great buy low.
We're going to answer a ton of questions during last call today, but one that was very notable at the front was, are we worried about Gibbs' usage or snap count? And it seems like, obviously, Barry, not much concern. Jay, not much concern. We did get to see another promising rookie in this Lions offense, and that was Sam LaPorta. Barry, you had him going over 20.
Before we go there, hey,
yeah.
Before we go to LaPorta, I just want to answer this specific question. Do I think it'll be closer to 50-50 by week 6? I don't. it's going to be, but it's not going to be 21-9. It's going to be more like 17-12 in terms of like touches per game. Like, so it'll probably be like 65-35. Again, he's going to have the DeAndre Swift role. So I don't think Gibbs touches the ball more than 12 times in most games. But I think because of his explosiveness and because they'll scheme him open and get him on mismatches, I think it's going to be fine. DeAndre Swift, again, was a top 15 fantasy running back on a points per game basis all 3 years he's in Detroit. And I think that's what's ultimately still going to happen for Gibbs. Like, you're going to have to be patient. But yes, in terms of usage and touches, it's going to be Montgomery. But the explosiveness of Gibbs is still there. Monty over Gibbs at cost, but Gibbs will still be a thing this year. Don't panic.
Right, not all touches are created equal, and Gibbs' efficiency will be phenomenal this season. But back to Sam LaPorta. Barry, you had him going over 29.5 receiving yards. He obviously does that. He targeted 5 times. He catches all 5 targets for 39 yards. We know this is an offense that, while Jameson Williams is dealing with the 6-game suspension, they are looking for players to make an impact in the pass game that aren't named amon-ra St. Brown. He can't have a target every single play, Barry, as much as he would love that. A good start for Sam LaPorta last night.
Yeah, we liked him a lot. We talked about he was my best bet for last night in terms of the over on LaPorta. Played 82% of the team snaps, had a 72% route participation. You'd like to see that a little bit higher, but still 5 targets, 5 receptions. That's the most receptions by a rookie tight end in week 1 since TJ Hawkinson back in 2019. And so for me, I think that's really encouraging. I think he's a high-end tight end too at the moment. I think he probably should be rostered in almost, every normal size league, borderline on a 10-team league, but at 12-team and deeper, absolutely. And I don't mind stashing him on your bench in a 10-teamer as well. He's got tight end 1 upside, but right now, like I think I was ranking for the rest of the season, like I think he's, top 12-ish. Like very encouraging from Sam LaPorta in week number 1.
Yeah, and I think you touched upon it then that as explosive as this Lions offense is, and we think it's going to be one of the best offenses around, I mean, last night there was 13 targets going to Josh Reynolds and Marvin Jones Jr. Like, there's not a lot here outside of amon-ra until Jameson Williams comes back. And so Sam LaPorta, when we talk about him as a potential tight end 1, if you're talking 12-team leagues, guys who are going around tight end 12 like Dalton Schultz and Cole Kmet are on that borderline. I think LaPorta can absolutely be better than those guys. So
Barry, LaPorta cashes your best bet, and Jay, shout out to you because your best bet could always be a scary one because you have to watch till the very end. Jared Goff to not throw an interception.
Thank you, Jared.
Goff, 359 pass attempts now without an interception. That is the 3rd longest streak in NFL history. And since he's joined the Lions are tied for the most wins against the spread in the NFL. They are 23-11 against the spread. So Jared Goff, people never act excited about him. He's been the victim of some criticism. He obviously got traded from the Rams. It's an incredible number.
Yeah, and look, he's gotten a bit lucky with that. He should have thrown some picks there. The ball went up for grabs a little bit last night. But I think the thing with Goff, it's very clear there is a delineation in his style of play where if he is under pressure, he is not good at all. And if he is kept clean, he is very good to the point where he led a team to the Super Bowl. And if he has a great offensive line and weapons, and he has the offensive line, he has a weapon in amon-ra St. Brown, and he'll get some more coming back. I mean, I think he's a very solid quarterback. I think the issue from a fantasy perspective, if you're looking to stream Jared Goff, or if you do have him on your bench and you're looking to play him over guys like, Geno Smith or Daniel Jones, if that was your approach, I'm not sure they're going to be throwing the ball that much until Jameson Williams comes back and they get a bit more of an explosive passing attack.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and RotoWorld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from RotoWorld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.